Oh, I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you. And it's been really amazing listening to all the women so far and just seeing the common threads between all of our talks. You know, it's beautiful. So thank you for having me here and letting me be a part of the summit. Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to sharing. Yeah. So I'll just get started. Yes. Okay. So again, I'm so happy to be here and have this opportunity to share some really simple yet powerful ways that we can better regulate our nervous systems and build a deeper relationship with ourselves. But before we begin, I'd love to invite us to just take a few deep breaths together. To the count of 4 in, the count of 4 out, and just to land in this moment. Deep breath. It's already been a full day, and you've taken a lot in with all these amazing speakers. So for the moment, just allow yourself to come back in your body here. And notice as you're breathing, if there's anywhere that you feel tightness, constriction, or holding. And wherever you notice it, take another deep breath and expand that space to allow a little bit more room in your inner world. And from this grounded inner space, I'd like to ask you a really foundational, important question. How are you in relationship with yourself? Not your business, not your goals, not your strategy, and not the version of you that the world sees. But you, your relationship to your mind, your body, your nervous system, your inner voice, your heart, and ultimately your soul. What I've noticed in my 30 plus years in the healing and wellness field is that there's often a split that is at the root cause of exhaustion and interference in being able to realize our full potential, especially in those of us who have great ambition and big visions. We become caught in the push of things, the creation of things, the doing of things. It's all great, but somewhere along the way, we forget how to be. We forget how to build a relationship within ourselves that can actually hold and uplift the external realities that we are creating. So take another breath. Pause, tune in. And again, how are you in relationship with yourself? Do you give yourself enough moments to simply sit and be? And if not, just for a moment, what might that look like? Would you be painting, walking in nature, writing, singing, dancing, or something else entirely? That can help you land in that inner space where your survival nervous system can soften enough for your frontal brain to come back online, that part of you that reflects, observes, integrates, can put pieces together and just sees more, sees the bigger picture. Because there was a period of my life where I felt like I was constantly rushing ahead of myself, and rushing ahead created exhaustion. And I see this in so many of my clients too, that when we live rushing ahead of ourselves, we miss life. And we miss our moment of power, which is now. My name is Luana Victoria Rana, and I've dedicated my life to knowing myself, to uncovering and rewiring beliefs, stories, patterns, and trauma imprints that once kept me very far away from myself and my full potential. There was a time in my life where I felt I had to present just one version of myself to the world, while hiding the parts of me that felt vulnerable, scared, angry, frustrated. Those parts were not integrated. And even my greatness, I learned to shrink it down and not shine my light so brightly because it irritated people. Somewhere along the way, all of these aspects got a reputation in my own biology that they were bad. And so I longed to feel whole within myself. So I traveled the world for over 17 and a half years, learning with different teachers, different masters, different traditions, all in search of one thing: to come home to myself, to come back to my body, become more whole. And although spirituality carried me through some of the hardest seasons of my life, it was science that helped set me free. And that recognition and realization surprised me, because for years I believed that healing meant transcending what I felt, understanding it, conceptualizing it spiritually, seeing the lesson, finding the meaning. And those things helped, but eventually I realized understanding is not the same as embodiment. I could forgive and still feel activated. I could know better and still react. I could have insight and still feel exhausted. And so what I discovered through neuroscience and trauma work was something incredibly freeing, that my reactions were not character flaws. They were adaptations, that my nervous system had learned ways to protect me. And what had been learned can also be unlearned and rewired. And that changed everything. Because instead of asking what is wrong with me, I began to understand my brain, my nervous system, the impact of trauma. It helped me to understand not only why I struggled, but how to work with myself instead of against myself. My spirituality evolved to a new level of comprehension, that we are not here to escape. We are here to embody our human experience fully, the dark and the light, the conscious and the unconscious, to balance both our inner and outer realities as one, to be congruent. And today, I want to share the distilled results of all those years of exploration and discovery. 3 simple shifts that can immediately change the landscape of your inner world. Because when our inner world changes, our outer world begins changing too. I call it becoming your best pal. There is a much deeper body of work beneath this, exploring fear, healing, and soul embodiment. But today, I simply want to give you the foundation, because this alone can change a lot. So let's start with the P. P is for presence. Take a deep breath. We already practiced a few of those. And I don't know if you noticed, but the moment you breathe, you automatically become more present. You cannot focus on your breath and another thought at the same time. So when you breathe, you are communicating something very important to your nervous system, that you're safe. Because otherwise, when we're holding our gut, tightening, holding our breath, holding tension, we remain in survival mode, where we perpetuate the adrenaline and cortisol response and overload that can take time, a lot of time, to move through the body. So take another deep breath. Presence allows us to listen. It helps us to slow down enough to notice something's happening inside of me right now. Present does not ask us to solve. It asks us to arrive. And then once we arrive, we move to A, awareness. Awareness allows us to observe what is there. Where is there tightness? Where do I feel constricted? Where am I holding my breath? And as we practiced in the beginning, you witness that flow. You witness the release. Awareness lets us look underneath any reaction or any situation or activation, to become curious instead of consumed by it. So, for example, maybe I notice I feel fear. Okay, take a breath. What is that fear? I fear being rejected. Okay, take another breath. Where do I know that feeling from? Take another breath. And then your inner intuition and guidance, you have the answers in you already. That will emerge. And these are just some example questions. And these are my questions, because for me, rejection was a huge thing for me. But the moment that we engage awareness, we interrupt the automatic cycle. That's the key. The moment we bring observation to the equation, we slow the force of reaction. It loses its momentum. And suddenly, instead of being inside the experience, we are in relationship with the experience. And then we move to L, love. Love whatever appears, whatever comes up. Meet it with love, kindness. understand that every pattern, every belief, every coping mechanism you're wanting to change was created for a reason. And at some point, it had helped us to survive. And when we understand that, we stop making ourselves wrong. We can then thank that part of us. Thank it and honor it for everything it carried to help us get through. And then we can let it go. Because L also stands for letting go. Healing begins by becoming willing to feel, to honor what is, to understand, and eventually release it with love and grace. And when we let go, we become available again. Available for deeper relationship, deeper insight, relationship with self, with life, with ourselves, with love. And from that place, we find our way forward. So here is the simple equation. Presence lands us in the moment and interrupts the trigger cycle. Awareness lets us observe, inquire, understand. And love allows integration and release. And if we want to simplify it even more, just for a cue cards version, presence equals to arrive. Awareness equals to observe. And love to integrate. So take a deep breath with that. This simple yet effective practice brings us back into right relationship with ourselves and with life. We can become our best pal rather than our worst enemy, which most of us are until we learn to understand our unconsciousness. We bring light there and healing there. And that, becoming our best pal, is what's going to rewire our biology completely. The beauty of neuroscience is that what we don't use, we lose. So the bad habits, the neural networks that were developed over lack of self-worth, fear, uncertainty, not enoughness, those well-trodden neural network pathways that we built up for so long, they actually can just dissolve the more that we repeat. PAL, presence, awareness, love. Each time we interrupt it, we are writing a new neurobiology in ourselves, which is then becoming the default, the new default, rather than the old version that's based on our trauma and our survival, which, God bless it, we needed it. But it's no longer serving us to thrive. So I hope what I shared is useful in living a fully embodied life for yourself and helping you build sustainable success in all of your ventures and areas of life. And I'm really grateful again to have been here, and I thank you for your time. And it was such a joy sharing with you. And I do have 2 slides here that I would like to share if I have the permission to do that. Can I pull that up? I'm not, let's see, I'm pressing on it. Let's see. Can anybody help me here from tech? Is there a way that I can pull this up? I've put it in the presentation box, but it's not landing. It's not coming on the screen. No. I created a screenshot for you guys to take of the PAL, Best PAL formula. Oh, there we go. Yay. Becoming your best pal. So I created this today so that you could have something to take a picture of with your camera, and it can be a reminder and a support and an anchor in your own journey of coming home to yourself and your wholeness, and reminding yourself to breathe, become aware, and to always realign with love. And I think it was, who was it that said that? It was Charelle, yes, that her elder had said that. Love everything, right? And love isn't just a romantic feeling. Love is the intelligence of life. That's what love is. So I invite you to take a screenshot of that. And then I have one other one. So this is the other one. Okay, there's one more. If I can get some help with that one. There we go. And there's a QR code, and that's to my link tree. So in my link tree, you'll find all my books. There's actually a new release. It's called Come Alive, and that digital version I'm giving free for the whole world forever. It's, for me, one of my legacy pieces that really captures the fullness of what has guided me in nature in my life. And so go get your copy for free. And then you've got all my music. I have 2 sound healing albums on Spotify and iTunes. I have lots of Substack articles. I got a lot of goodness there in the link tree. So it's all in one place, so it's easy for you to find. And then with that, I just want to say thank you again. I'm really grateful to have been here, and it's been a fun process putting it all together. And you are all actually a part of one of my bigger visions of myself, of starting to speak at more women's summits. And this is my first one. So thank you, everybody, for being a part of my dream. Thank you.